I know, I'm a little late, but I cannot believe what I have read. So for those of you not in the know, PGR has different servers, and they're not all synced up together. This isn't like Withing Waves where everything launched at once. Global server is about 1 year behind the Chinese server, and that means Global needs to wait about a year to get where China is right now. From this recent statement put out by Kuro, they are essentially trying to compress the timeline for Global so that by the end of 2025 we are synced up with the Chinese servers. That means a compression of characters, events, stories, and other things all in one patch. So that means 2 or 3 characters per patch as stated in the notes, for example. These patches will last about 6 weeks. I'll go into why this is great, but also we need to keep keen eyes on this as there are some causes for concern. This especially applies when they implement this, as according to Spider2B, who is a guide maker and asset to the PGR community, has stated that yes, obviously they are listening, but that this is a work in progress. He seems to have personally worked with Kuro on making this, and that's really big. That means we as a community should do our best to try and help them along where things are a little rocky. I believe in Kuro, but they aren't an entire community of millions of players, and they are bound to miss some things. Obviously, this is great since one of the pain points of trying to get people into PGR is that people will see awesome things, like the Alpha Crimson Weave Max Motivation being probably the most popular, or no-hit stylish things of Lamia or Noctis or whoever else, and while it's sick to see that, the wash of disappointment follows soon after because us PGR people would have to let you know that you will need to wait X amount of time to even get that character. For example, Ishmael is the newest CN unit. We hype you up because the screen is just fucking crack for your eyes and brain, but then we gotta throw cold water on you by telling you that she won't be coming out on Global until a year later. With this new change, that disappointment will soon be over and we can just share this underrated gem without having to spoil the fun. So this is great for trying to spread the word of the Ascension network. This would also be a potentially good time for newcomers or returning players too, as you'll be on a quick and potentially generously filled path stuffed with events, units, and boss fights all at one time. That means these patches will be more action and less daily grind business as usual stuff. Of course, veterans are still playing now most likely, and will benefit us in the same way it does for the previously mentioned group. However, as long-term players, I think we bear a bigger responsibility of giving Kuro feedback as we are the ones who know, experience, and continuously play PGR, so commandants, give your input to Kuro when you can. I do have high hopes. However, I do also have concerns. Obvious concern 1 would be the currency amount given and accelerated events. Will they be giving enough to make up for this speed up in time? After all, if 3 premium units are coming with their weapons and cubs, well, black cards, yes, will be potentially tight, but what about resources like Pain Cage Skulls? They are extremely important for free-to-play players for getting strong units at SS for free. Will they be doubled or even tripled to match? Will they be added in event tasks or mailed to us weekly as a counterweight? The events are another thing. For events, a gripe that I've had is that some events are not friendly for those who are busy, as some require daily or constant repeats to get all resources, meaning I can't come in a week before an event ends and get everything, and I may miss out on materials, stamps, dorm stuff, or whatever else. The Cooking Lulu minigame is a prime example as it requires day-to-day revisiting and whatnot. That event cannot be done a week or even 2 weeks before. Will this be addressed, and will events have a more lenient, busy-friendly timer? I know it's over a 6-week period, but I'm hoping there's little FOMO and events don't go away more quickly than usual to make way for the next events. To me, this compression would on paper make this event problem be potentially worse, depending on how they plan to roll out and do events. After all, that's at least 7 to 9 events, not including stuff like character trials, boss trials, or coding trials. Also, some of these events are long or time heavy for some people. Battle or combat events can take at least an hour or 2 to go through, and that's if you're playing decently well. If you're trying to go for max or high score battle, you'll be spending some hours trying to get through, and you probably didn't touch Pain Cage or Warzone if you're aiming for good scores. Add in 1 or 2 more longer combat focused events with side mechanic stuff, and you're easily spending a hefty amount of time in the game. While we're still on events, what about character-specific shops which hold their memories and affection items? I feel like we won't have enough Serum first off to do 3 separate character shops, but secondly, if Serum is a problem, that means getting their memories will also be a problem, and a costly one at that, as that problem will eat heavily into 6-star memory shards. I also worry a bit about the other higher tier reward items, as again, the cost for those things will go up. Will those be also more plentiful? There's a lot of other concerns, but I think these listed things are enough for now, and we'll just need to wait and see. The amazing thing is that Kuro has talked about their successes and challenges with launches specific to Wuthering Waves in the famous TDW talk, you know, where you get this quote from. They put a lot of hard work into the simultaneous launch of Wuthering Waves. I never would have thought that that work in Wuthering Waves would have carried over to PGR 3 months later, and that's just, well, I mean, it's just kind of unheard of in the gacha space, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not the most well-versed in all gacha games, but please, tell me if there's any other game that has done this, like, I would love to know. If not, Kuro is blazing a path for a higher standard of gacha games going forward. I believe that from this work and what they have done with Wuthering Waves and now PGR, that they may be good figures to look up to for any other company that's trying to do any kind of catch-up between regions. This is especially the case now in late 2024 because gacha games have fucking exploded, and I think will continue to grow in popularity. I can't tell you how excited I am, but I won't lie and say that I'm also not a bit cautious about it too. But I gotta ask, how are you feeling about this new PGR game changer? I never would have thought that they would ever do this. I believe that PGR 2 could grow a lot from this, and I think that's pretty neat. In any case though, I appreciate you, thank you for letting me take your time, and be safe out there.